The night before the state football finals get underway, but we don't care because here on NorthJerseySports.com, it's hockey night. NorthJerseySports.com's original multimedia series talking all things ice hockey across North Jersey. This is Season 5, Episode 2. Yes, Episode 2. The same amount of shows we did last year. We are increasing our output because we have a lot to talk about. I am Cory Doviak, being joined by my illustrious panel of North Jersey hockey insiders, and we have a full boat this week as the wayward son has returned. Sea Caucus's favorite son, the athletic director of the Fairlawn Cutter Athletic Department. He is Cory Robinson. What's going on, Cory, and where were you last week?
I was down at NJSA working on some rule stuff and looking at, some potential changes in the upcoming, only joking. Guys listening are probably getting, going through the phone. But I think I was at a Devil game, if I'm not mistaken, last week.
Oh, my God.
A little professional hockey game.
God.
So.
Drinking $13 beers and skipping
I was
out
actually
on
there negotiating on your behalf, Mr. Doviak, to have us sit in there live one night and work next to Chico and Matt Lachlan maybe, and maybe we could call a game ourselves, the three of us.
Yeah, you know what's funny is though my social calendar is still wide open, so I guess those negotiations didn't go anywhere, huh? And also joining us is the rock of this program, a guy who shows up week in, week out, a guy who is coaching his own team but still finds time to talk about others. He is the Maven. He is Riverdale Westwood head coach Kevin Sabella. What's going on, Kev?
I mean, guy had to go to a Devil game.
Can you believe it?
Like, can you make it?
I also had to go to a Fairlawn Riverdale game the other night, too, and almost saw our illustrious Cutters pull off an upset over the powerful Golden Knights.
Golden Hawks, Cardinals.
Yes, it was.
Golden Hawks, my fault. Mr. Cashel.
Get it right.
Golden Knights.
No, nothing much is going on, man. Getting ready for week 2 here. Got some good games on the slate I see all over the place. So we'll see, man. Excited to have illustrious. I like that. The illustrious host.
Pat. The illustrious Pat, yes.
We have to make it a point to get Stan Fischler on the show this year.
All right.
Good point.
And introduce Maven to Maven. I think he might sue the program, but we at least could try to get him on.
Yes.
Well, if I get a death threat, I know where it'll come from.
Yep.
Well, we were skating a man down last week, but we are back at full strength as Cory Robinson has returned, and we got a great show for you tonight. We are going to talk to Paramus Catholic head coach Keith Bland. His team got its season off on a medium foot, not a good foot, not a bad foot. They tied on opening night on Tuesday, so he'll join us to talk about the Paladins. And then we're going to have Tom Danko on, the longtime head coach of the Clifton Mustangs. And it's a great time to have him, too, because as we tape this on Wednesday, it's just one night removed from his 350th career win. He's seen a lot of high school hockey in his day, Cory. And he's certainly a guy who's, he's seen it all and done it all on the high school hockey scene and done it all in one place.
Tommy's a great guy, I'll tell you. He's a lot of really good kids have went through that program, and he's affected a lot of kids' lives in a positive way. And whenever I see Anthony Yelovich, I always think of Tommy Danko because I was his high school coach, and obviously Anthony's a state championship coach last year at Glen Rock. So Tommy's done a great job, and I think Maven could second that as he's coached against him now, and his teams are always prepared to play, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I remember when I first I helped out at Ramsey for a couple of years when I first took the teaching job there, and it's funny you say Yelovich. We played them 2 years in a row in the States, and we couldn't stop them. We couldn't stop Yelovich, and Tommy had, besides that, I mean, Tommy had great game plans and everything, and, like Cory said, I mean, the amount of ice hockey players he has touched is unbelievable. So, congrats to him.
You know, Cory, you want another trivia question about Anthony Yelovich? Another little fact that you probably don't know?
Go ahead.
He was a guest on last week's show, the one you blew off and then refused to go back and listen to.
I mean, you know, to make up for my loss, you had to get Pascos and Yelovich, huh? You had to really dig down into the, into the well there, huh? I got you.
Guy Lafleur coming next week.
All right.
The next time you miss a show, it's Guy Lafleur or Gordie Howe. Oh, no,
and this just in Montreal. Ottawa has scored.
All right, here's what I want to do before we get to our guests. And, Kev, I'll start with you because you were in the ranks. You were in the wars this weekend. What'd you come out, 1-1? You beat Fairlawn, lost on opening night. You can talk about your own team, which is, hey, this is your show. You got the open forum. But also anything else that stuck out to you on the opening weekend in the rinks.
My Ramsey Rams stuck out to me. They came out, I believe, they beat Indian Hills 1-0, which was a big win for them, I saw. And then they tied, who did they tie first game? I forget, Cord. Maybe you can help me
Lakeland.
out. But Lakeland, which is a good tie. So they came out of there. You know, for a program like Ramsey, had a rough year last year, bounced back, new head coach, good coach in Jeff Mills. That stuck out to me, to answer your question. So, hats off to them. I know it's early in the season, obviously, but, congrats to them. I'm sure Mr. Mills will keep them rolling along here.
Yep, and Cory, how about you? And you're not allowed to talk about what went on the 6 and unders in the Sea Caucus rink.
Well, our 8 and unders did win the Turkey Shoot Ice Vault tournament, so that is a good thing for Sea Caucus hockey. I will. What struck me in week 1 was Bosco's 2 dominating performances over Pope John, I believe, and
Gloucester.
I think it was Gloucester. Yeah, not that they won the games, but just looking at the box scores and stuff, the shots on goal were extremely one-sided. And I mean, obviously, everybody knows Bosco's got a really good team, and this is a potentially the year that they're able to maybe win the whole thing. But that was one thing that definitely stood out. And you said it a couple of minutes ago, Coach Danko, 350 wins. That's an accomplishment, and to do it in one place, and to when anybody mentions Clifton, maybe even Clifton High School, people think of Tom Danko. He wins the right way, loses the right way, and he's had a lot of good things go on over there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to get to the Tom Danko interview, but before we do, let's welcome in our first guest of the evening. He is the head coach of the Paramus Catholic Paladins, joining us one night after opening his season. He is Keith Bland. Coach, thanks for joining us here on It's Hockey Night.
Guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it as always.
Yes, well, a 1-1 tie to start the season. I mean, not the worst result, not the best, but just how does it feel to be back up and moving here on the 2017-2018 high school hockey season?
You know what? It was good to get the first one under our belt, actually. I always like going on the road for the first game of the season. We weren't scheduled to play a league game on the opening weekend of the season, so we found an independent game against Freehold. We went down on the road, and we actually played pretty well. So it was good to get the first one out of the way and under our belt.
In the friendly confines of the Jersey Shore Arena?
That's correct. Yeah, we went down to Wall last night on a team bus for our first road trip of the season, and it was good. I didn't mind the outcome. 1-1 on the road against a good Freehold team. We'll take it for the opening night.
Go ahead, Cory.
Keith, I'm going right to the goalies. How's your goalie situation? Is I believe used from last year?
Yes, our goalie situation is pretty solid, actually. I'm confident in both of them. I have Joe Hughes, who's a sophomore this year, and I have Dennis McGarry, who's a junior. Joe played last night. He made 21 saves during the game, played really well. He's played very well in the preseason games that we've had here, so we're very confident with him in the net as a group. He kind of bails us out in certain situations, and he's very competitive, and that's what we're looking for. He competes every day in practice in all the games that he plays. Both of our goalies do, so our goaltending is pretty solid.
And a big game coming up on the 1st against an improved Passaic Valley team. What can you tell us about those guys?
Oh, yeah. You know what? They've made big strides, actually. We split the regular season games with them last year. It's always a competitive game. They're a division rival, and I expect that they're going to come with their best, too. On the bus ride home, actually, last night when we were getting off the bus, I said, now we need to focus on Passaic Valley for Friday. We have a practice tomorrow that we're going to focus on what they do and try to implement some things that we needed to correct from last night. So I'm hoping we'll be ready to go Friday and compete like we did last night.
Mays, go ahead.
Well, Keith, with the new, explain this new league to everybody. Now, what's it called? The Egan or something?
Yeah, it's the Egan Conference that we're in.
Okay.
Coaches from some of the Catholic schools got together over the summer with Cory, who was instrumental with it as well. We were kind of looking to get something, kind of replicate the Gordon division a little bit since we are some Catholic schools. And we just thought it would be competitive hockey games and see some new teams during the season. And we actually put it together, and now we're going to be playing in this Egan Conference. We're going to have playoffs at the new year for that division as well. So it's some teams that we normally don't see during the season, maybe just in the state tournaments at the Catholic schools. But I think it'll raise our level of competitiveness and just have some better games throughout the course of the season.
And
maybe create some different rivalries too.
Yeah, and the only way to get anything done is to go through Cory Robinson, is my point. Go ahead.
No, that is so far from the truth. So far from the truth.
Seems to be the guy that we need to go through. But no, it was something that I think that all these teams were thinking about, or at least the Catholic schools from our end, just to get some more rivalries in. I don't want to say you get sick of playing the same teams over and over, but it's always good to get out there to see what some of the Southern Jersey teams look like and whatnot. It just gives you a different feel, see some different teams that we could see during the in the state tournament as well. So I think it was a great idea. I'm expecting nothing but competitive games. There's some pretty good teams that we're playing in that league, so it's going to be tough for us. But I think we're excited to see some new teams.
And always nice to play a game. I don't know if you're there, but it's always nice to play a game at the Armory in Red Bank.
Yeah, you know what? We've actually played Red Bank the last 2 seasons down there, and that's a great place. The fans are right over top of you there. It always seems to be a good atmosphere there, and so we enjoy going down there and play. We've had some good games with them over the seasons the last couple of years, so it's something that we always look forward to there.
I think we should make a new segment here on It's Hockey Night. We'll ask every coach and player that we have on throughout the season your top 2 favorite rinks to play games at. Coach Bland, you are the first one ever to answer this question, so set the precedent for us.
Wow, you know what? Going back from my
Keith, remember where you play Tuesday nights. You practice them.
Yeah, I might have to leave for tea caucus, right?
There you go.
From my playing days, South Mountain and Menin were always great venues for us. When I went to St. Joe's, we had great games against Del Barton and Menin. That's where we used to play the state, the finals and semifinals. So I remember those days going there in that place where you fill the building and from fans from both sides. That was great. And of course, South Mountain, the rink there. It's just you get more of a feel in there, I think, when you have sedans and seats like that and people can sit and relax. So those are my favorite, actually.
I just pulled out a brand new sticky note. I'm going to label it here as favorite rinks, and throughout the season, I'm going to keep track of this thing. And at the end of the year, we will find out where most people like to play. Hey, let's go around here. Maven, where's your 2 favorite places?
I don't know. I'm thinking right now. I always like South Mountain too. That was on my list as I was thinking quickly here.
Am I going to lock you in on South Mountain?
Yeah, give me one on South Mountain. Let me think on another. Go to Cory. He's got more. He's definitely got more.
Well, South Mountain, definitely. No doubt. Just a lot of painful losses there.
All right. And then Cory,
some wins, though. No, some wins, too, actually. But, it's the tradition is there, as Keith said. When you walk out of the locker rooms and you go up that little ramp there, there's just a lot of good hockey players that went up to that ice, including Coach Sabella and Coach Bland.
All right. So you got one more each, Cory and Kevin. You can take your time, and we can get back to it later. But Coach, I want to ask you, what would be, what are you hoping for to get out of this season? I mean, have you set goals with the kids, or have you said, how are you looking at it? Is it one game at a time, or is it like, hey, we got to do this to get where we want to go? Where do you want to go?
It's very cliche, but it really is one game at a time. We finished last year under 500, so it was a little disappointing from our perspective. And we've come into this season making some changes. Obviously, when you finish 500 and you don't achieve your goals, some changes have to be made. So we have a lot of returning players. However, nothing was set in stone. So we felt that we needed to change the way we played and our attitude and the way we competed. I don't think we did that enough last year in certain games, in certain situations. I think we took some teams lightly, thinking that we're a Catholic school and we're better, and you can't do that in this sport. So I think that was the mentality coming into the preseason here, that we need to work for everything that we get. We don't have a guy that's going to score 40 goals for us like we've had in the past. So we're going to have to kind of score by committee. We're going to have to play three lines that are balanced, that can compete, and we're just going to have to muck and grind to get goals, to be honest with you. So that's kind of the attitude that we've gone in. We've played 4 preseason games. We had 4 scrimmages, and I thought we competed in all of them. We wound up winning 3 out of the 4, so I was happy with that. And then going into last night, again, our sense of urgency right from the beginning was good. We competed, and we scored a goal to tie it in the third period. So it was a good tie on the road. So that's kind of just the mentality that we were trying to bring, and it's early in the season. So I just hope that continues, and I think that our record will take care of itself, and some wins will follow.
Well, you can't say it any better than that. Kev, anything else for the coach?
No. Coach sounds ready to go.
He's really fired up. A great guest every time he comes on here.
Yeah.
Lays it right out there for you.
No,
and the only one of the current panel to commit to 2 favorite rinks. I mean, you 2 other guys are everything else. Keith,
well, they're committing as players. I didn't play in Jersey, so
I didn't say it had to be a Jersey rink.
Well then I got to go to Abe Stark Arena in Brooklyn.
All right,
that's where my roots are. I don't know if the coaches played at Abe Stark ever.
What year did that close?
No, I never played at that one.
But you've heard of it.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Coney Island, yeah, it's classic. Good old classic place.
Good stuff, Coach. Thanks for coming on, as always, and we will catch up with you later on in the season. Best of luck to you.
Great, guys. Thanks for having me. Always good to
talk. All right, good luck, Keith.
All right, gentlemen. Well, it is a pleasure to welcome in this guest on this edition of It's Hockey Night, a man who won his 350th game as a high school head coach. He is Clifton's Tom Danko. Coach, thanks for joining us here on It's Hockey Night.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
So 350 is a lot, but, we got some time. Let's start at number 1 and then take us right through to last night when you got 350.
No, just a long road, I tell you.
Yeah. But you know what? Curiosity, though, is, and I know coaches, most guys remember the tough losses, remember the good wins, but what was win number 1?
Oh, gee, win number 1 was going way back, 1987. I think our first game was against Milburn. I believe it was.
And all of it?
I don't even... Excuse me?
All of it?
Remember what the score was.
And Kevin Sabella was still in high school at that point.
Yes.
You know what's funny, though? I had Nick Del Calzo, the Hasbrook Heights football coach, on, and he's been there 35, 37 years or whatever. And he remembers the kid who missed the block that got his quarterback hurt in the one season that he was under 500. So I thought you might have similar recollections. But, football's only 10 games a year. You don't have to remember that much. But anyway, Coach, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on the effort. I mean, just talk about what it means to, what does that mean to you when you hear 350 wins next to your name?
Well, 350 wins, that means, I like to think I helped out a lot of kids, and I put the time in to make sure that it was done right and it was successful.
Yeah. How many times did he beat you, Maven?
Well, I think that brings us to December 1st. The next game on the schedule for both these gentlemen is the Mustangs and the Riverdale. What are you guys called?
They're the Golden Hawk Cardinals.
Golden Hawk Cardinals or whatever? Okay. Friday night at Floyd Hall.
Yeah.
5:30
game.
5:30
should be interesting.
Yeah. We've always had, first of all, Coach, congratulations. I'm only about 250 plus behind you, so not too bad. Anyway, Yeah, looking at jumping on, obviously, this season, you guys were very strong last season with Gibson in goal and your defenseman back there. You got 2 good forwards coming back, plus another, couple more. How's the season looking for you so far? I saw, obviously, the win last night. I saw a little bit of your Paramus game, but, obviously just 2 games in. How you doing so far?
Well, I think we're looking at a team that might be up and down. One day they're going to be able to beat anybody, and the next day they're going to struggle. So I think they were a typical team. I think they're working hard and they're learning. And unfortunately against Paramus they learned the hard way, and they what was one good thing is they bounced back against Tenafly to beat them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. That was a good. I wasn't surprised by that at all with you guys behind the bench leading that team, but definitely.
David, I got one quick question for you. When you were watching the Paramus Clifton game, were you watching it as a coach or were you watching it as a broadcast journalist?
Both.
Okay. I just don't want you cheating this show here, man.
No. I would never do that. Corey,
We're still waiting here at the copy desk for your game notes to be published on NorthJerseySports.com. Go ahead,
Corey. Coach Danko. When I think of Coach Danko, I think of the glory is. I think of him at the Meadowlands with that state championship win. That was obviously your biggest win. Give me 2 or 3 other memorable moments out of the 350. Never mind the first one, and the victories against Hudson Catholic can't be included.
I don't know if there was too many Hudson Catholic games. Well, there was some of the big games that you remember are the ones that you lost, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I remember we lost to Hudson Catholic in my first year in a playoff game. I believe it was a 1-0 game or a 2-1 game. They had a goalie that was just outstanding, and the game was back and forth, and one of our guys walked in with like a minute left, and he hit both posts, and we wound up losing the game 2-1. So that was a big one. But
and how about a story from that one, guys? As we all know, Coach Verney from Montclair was a Hudson Catholic player. He gets a concussion in a game when we're playing at South Mountain, and I end up meeting him at the hospital with his parents, and he's in the room, the doctor comes in, and he goes, "You're a Hudson Catholic guy?" And he was a little dazed, and it's, yeah, Hudson Catholic. So he goes, "Oh, I can't stand Hudson Catholic." I let in the winning goal of the championship game, so I don't know if you know that, Coach, but your former goalie in that game is a doctor or works at ER.
Wow. It is.
You produce the small ones there close to too.
Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to ask you, it's interesting, like the state of high school hockey. You've seen it evolve so much from when you started to where it is now. What's the biggest change that you've seen, and what do you think needs to change to keep it on solid ground and keep it moving in the right direction? I mean, we're seeing a lot more co-op programs, and what are your thoughts on the current state of the game and where it needs to go?
Well, obviously, I don't know if there's less kids playing, but that it has to be less kids playing because there's more and more teams that are merging together and co-oping. So I don't know, if the interest is back. I don't know if it's the Devils having one or the Rangers having one, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of kids playing. Even you go down to the rinks, you watch the clinics that they run, and it just doesn't seem like they have the kids that are there anymore that you had in the past. And one of the things that I think what's evolving, and I'm sure guys would probably disagree with me, some would agree with me, but I think the better players are getting better while the average players are not getting better. I attribute that to the travel hockey. There's much more tournament play in the summertime. And there's less and less camps. You used to see camps all around, and you don't see that as much as you did years ago.
I agree. Everybody wants to now in the summer and the spring, they want to go play games. They don't want to go to the West Point camp and the Laura Sams and all those camps we used to go to.
Yeah. Remember those skating camps that even some of the camps that weren't advertised were excellent camps. They were like word-of-mouth camps that went around, and kids would go to that, and you'd come back the next year, in November when you had the tryouts, and you couldn't even recognize the player. It wasn't the same player anymore. He improved that much. And now it just seems to be, travel based. Everything is going toward travel hockey. I know the level of play there has gotten better, but the average kid or the kid that's the beginner kid seems to have gotten lost.
That's a great point, because I do shows on a variety of sports, and there's no doubt that participation across the board is down. I mean, we see it in football. In a sport like wrestling, I think is the perfect analogy to what you're talking about, is that there's never been better wrestlers at the top in high school wrestling right now, but the kid who used to be able to grab out of the hallway and say, hey, just go 8-8 for me, don't get pinned, that kid's not wrestling anymore. And it sounds like in hockey it's the same thing, where you're going to get some ice time a little bit here and there, but you can really help us if we get some injuries, or that kid's not playing hockey anymore.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I've been noticing the last couple of years is nobody wants to be a defenseman and nobody wants to be a goalie. Everybody wants to be a forward.
Right. Well, you wind up sounding like Cory Robinson if you spend too much time between the pipes. He's Exhibit A for the prosecution there. Go ahead, score some goals. Don't stand in front of him.
New segment coming up this year. In the crease, I think we're going to have a new segment, Goalie of the Week.
All right. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? And it
should be hosted. Invented it.
It should be hosted by Ross Mantione, actually. Kev, you got another one for the coach before we let him out of here?
Well, two things I was just thinking of. One, I remember going to McKay with Jimmy Hunt, Larry Maherta, who's now with St. Joe's, Jimmy Hunt running the Hitmen. Anyway, power skating twice a week. It was like $10 during the week. And it's funny, like, you never see, Corey will agree, they rarely see, like, power skating clinics or nothing anymore. Kids don't want to do that, It's all about
you see it at the cutting edge, but, a lot of parents nowadays ain't spending $50 for an hour of power skating.
No. Yeah. I mean, the other thing, too, I will say, looking at the numbers in non-public, they are up a little bit if you really look around.
But that plays into the travel hockey theme,
Yes. I don't know if that's why or what, but it certainly is that way.
I heard CBA had close to 100 kids come out to their tryouts. I know Coach Toscos over at Bosco had a really good turnout for his. I don't know
the travel.
what Bergen and Paramus and St. Joe's had, but those are obviously two of the top teams in the state. But Del Barton also had close to 70 kids. So, if you have those numbers there, and 10 of those kids aren't, or 15 of those kids are in their public schools, then your numbers in public schools are better.
That's a good point.
It's a trickle-down effect.
Tom Danko, I'm glad
Tom
Danko, I'm glad we had you on so that you could listen to us talk. We appreciate it.
And I wish Tom the best of luck on Friday night. I'll be pulling for you in that big game. How about the winner of that game buys the steaks at Alexis afterwards? Is that a fair bet, or Hockey Advantage could pick up that tab?
That's true.
Go ahead, Coach. What were you going to say?
I could settle for the White Castle.
me and Coach are going to the White Castle. You guys go have your steaks. Coach, best of luck. Thanks for coming on. Congratulations on the 350th win. And take it easy on my boy Kevin Sabella on Friday, will you?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, interesting stuff there with the head coaches, both Keith Bland from Paramus Catholic and the great Tom Danko of the Clifton Mustangs. Enjoyed talking to both of those guys, but now the real fun begins here on It's Hockey Night as we break out for the first time this season our rankings. First, we will start with the Grade 8 High School edition. We are going to rank the top 8 teams as decided by our illustrious panel of NorthJerseySports.com insiders. That means the three of us sitting here. And we are going to start with number 8. That is a drum roll. And Cory Robinson, who is the number 8 team in the NorthJerseySports.com Grade 8 for Week 2?
One of our guests tonight on the show, the Paladins of Paramus Catholic, coached by Keith Bland.
A 1-1 win over Freehold. And yes, we are pandering to our guests. They won on a tiebreaker because Coach was kind enough to join us here tonight. Moving on to number 7. And Kev, a team that you know well is number 7. Do you want to say it out loud or do you want me to do it? Does it hurt too much?
No, of course it doesn't hurt too much. I'm happy for him, and I could see it coming. It's the T-Birds in Mawa. Brad's got them rolling. They had a nice win versus Point Pleasant. I think they beat Ramapo in the opener, but then they had Point Pleasant Sunday. And now they got, I think they opened up, I want to say Indian Hills or something this weekend. But they'll be ready to go. Seniors have waited a long time here, and we got them in at 7. I got a feeling they're going to be climbing the charts, as they say, but we'll see.
Corey, I you know, what I meant, and this is between us. I mean, Kev, close your ears for a second. That's the bench he walked away from, Corey. He could have been.
Correct. Don't you think you should play a rematch after last year's
we'll get back on
county game, or
we'll
look at that maybe? Talk to Brad, maybe schedule that thing?
Yes, I'll call him after this, yes.
All
right, we're going to take Kevin Sabella out of this awkward situation and move on to number 6. Corey, who is?
The Green Knights of St. Joe's, coached by our good friend Larry Maherta.
Okay.
2-0, 2 wins. They beat Xavier 4-3 down in the Bayonne Ice Rink over the weekend. Not sure what Xavier has at this point, but I know the coach of Xavier actually is born and raised in Brooklyn, good friend of mine actually. So good win for Larry, and 2-0 start. Can't beat that.
And you know what Xavier does have? Now listen to all of my knowledge here. I've been scouring the
rugby
chart. No, what I do know is that they have a young freshman on the Xavier ice hockey team, a little-known player out of Hoboken, New Jersey, named Hudson Borelli. Remember, and that you can look it up. That's all true.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Who says? Wow. Huh?
Okay, yeah, it's my nephew.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Moving on to number 5. Kevin Sabella, you're up.
We got number 5. We got the Wayne. I believe it's the Knights. The Wayne Knights. Yes, Coach Belger, and getting the co-op of Wayne Knights going. 2 nice wins, I believe, or 2-0. Actually, to be honest, I made a mistake before. I think Wayne has Indian Hills Friday night, if I looked correctly. So that'll be the first test, I think. So congrats to them early in the season. But yes, Wayne at number 5.
Wayne running 4 lines, a rarity for public schools. They're looking good in their first season of existence for sure. Cory Robinson, who is number 4?
The 4 seed in this week's rankings.
That's Northern Highlands. I know I caught you napping. Go ahead.
No. I'm going to go with the Crusaders of Bergen Catholic.
Right.
Early yet. Obviously it's early, but they played Gloucester, lost a close game down there. It's always tough to go, as I'm sure all the teams from up here that have to take that drive down to Hollydale. I think it's exit 3 or 4 off the turnpike. It's real tough to win when you drive down there. So 3-1 loss at Gloucester. No harm done there. I'm sure Brian will get his team up and running. And actually, I'm looking at their schedule. They have Del Barton on Friday at the Ice House. So that should be a good test for them there.
And it was only after you started talking that I got your text message in communication that you were changing the rankings, pulling the rug right out from under me. We originally had Northern Highlands number 4, but that must mean that, Kev, you will speak on the Highlanders. They are sitting in the number 3 spot.
Yes, Coach Bestwick. Love him. Goes out and plays anybody. Picked up a huge win versus Suffern in a packed house at Sportorama. 2-1 in overtime. A strange thing, overtime. They actually decided a winner. So, yes, he playing in New York State, got the win, and then he went down to Cory's territory there, St. Peter's, and played well, 6-4 loss. But, as they say, you're going to be better playing those tough teams. And he's got himself a good squad this year. We'll definitely make a push for league, county, and state. So we got the Highlanders at number 3.
Yes, and the top 2 should come as a surprise to no one. Cory, who is the number 2 in the NorthJerseySports.com Grade 8 rankings?
The defending public school group public B champs, the Panthers of Glen Rock.
Yes.
Very early. Haven't seen them yet, but from all things that we've heard, they should be right in the mix again this year.
Yes, we heard all about it last week on the opening edition of It's Hockey Night. You should go back and listen to that show, Cory. It was good.
Yeah.
Any show that my buddy the Maven is a part of is good. No doubt.
Right. And the top team in the NorthJerseySports.com Grade 8, Kev, surprised us all.
Well, first of all, did we get a score tonight, Cory? How'd they do versus Seton Hall?
Bosco Seton Hall tonight. Would that affect your ranking, or?
Well, I had Riverdale close. But anyway, I was just checking to see how they were doing. It was 0-0 last time I checked. But, obviously, Bosco for round here in much of New Jersey is one. And as you said before, could this be the year? We'll see. But they're certainly focused. Ton of kids back. And like I just mentioned, they were down at the Rock playing Seton Hall in a tight game. So see how they did. But, yes, we got the Ironman at number 1.
Early to be down at the Rock playing, huh?
Yeah, well, Greg Costco said last week, he said that he hopes that it's one of 2 visits that his team will make this year. And as Kev said, they got a ton of players back, including the great Mickey Burns, the University of Vermont recruit, who we are rooting for all season to not only lead the Ironman to great things, but most importantly to stay healthy before he steps foot on campus in Burlington next year. But anyway, great stuff. Good to have the gang all back together. Cory Robinson back from his 1-week hiatus. His contract holdout has been settled. He's a happy camper back over here at It's Hockey Night, and we got plenty to do. We will do it all this season. More episodes to come. Thanks for joining us on It's Hockey Night.
Follow the leader.